Today's the sharing of the research that I've done so far with Choreographing the City, looking at how choreography, architecture and engineering, all practices to do with space and movement, can inform each other and create a lexicon across each other's practices, how choreography might inform design of urban spaces, and understanding how urban spaces are designed might inform or inspire choreography. I wanted to share today what I've been doing over the last 9 months. There are sort of three ideas that are movement ideas to play around with. The first one I'm calling chasing stillness. People's stillness is part of their sort of identity, how people become still in a city, how they sit or reflect or think or become invisible, sort of feeds their identity in the city. I'm really interested in exploring the idea of stillness as not something that's just an interruption of movement, but how maybe it's something about being connected to one's senses, or people have described it as being mindful or reflective. It seems to be something that needs unpicking a bit more, that there are different kinds of stillnesses, not just something that is just an alternative to all the different kinds of movement that we have. So we have lots of different kinds of movement that we understand, but how do we understand the different kinds of way people are still? For me, choreography should challenge the idea of time. So even though dance is momentary, it creates this space where it has been. So if we come into this room again, we remember what it felt like to move and dance and watch dance in here. So in a way, the choreography creates something that can move in and out of the vanishing point. The way we walk through the streets leaks into the future of the cities we construct, foretelling the possibilities of who we can move into being. At the city limits, the walls etch identities. Belonging becomes entangled with the privilege of being. Being becomes entangled with the privilege of belonging. I'm thinking that dwelling is different from stillness. Dwelling's got something to do with a kind of wandering, to be with something, to choose to be present, and dwelling in community and in things and with things. There are all these people that look like this, in sort of, I don't know, curating the city, that have nothing to do with the designers in the first place, and their curation is one where they're not actually present as who they are in the city. They're only really present when they've got these things on. There's this sort of double thing that's happening when people are designing urban spaces, how the people that are in that space are imagining they're meant to behave, and how the space itself, the design itself, creates spaces for them to behave. So there's this sort of clash that's going on. That, I think, the people in the high-vis vests are in the middle of that clash of expectations. People sort of theorise that place is not the same as space. It's something that is made up of all the elements of now. When people are designing buildings, they are sort of imagining the life of the people that will be in that building. wondering if it's possible to include their memories, their present, their hopes for their future. All the identities that they have can be present or recognised or available in the design. There's a worry or a tendency that maybe only certain identities can be there. Choreographically, I think it's really interesting for how do I make a piece of work with the body of the dancer being present not only in the dancer but in the whole space, and being present in more than one, being available across the whole space. This last piece is a spatial poem where there are lots of different images of the one body. I think in design or in the city, there are lots of different projections of yourself. You find yourself in different places. There are many bodies of you, and this spatial poem is trying to explore how you can be present in the physical body and be present in your shadow, in the projection of you, so that you can move with all these different abilities of seeing and being yourself. And she would make utterances that silently shook the buildings, changed the sky, pulled the air into the corners of her world. Listen, walk, disappear. Magic crisscross patterns of diasporic, classed, unspoken vulnerability that her heart beat into histories. The empty spaces her absences left revealed more than they concealed. She was seemingly in place by being out of place. She says, I have to change the city, but the toll of that was to change herself. Finding the city, meeting it head on as a series of remapping, her exercises in displacement, shifting the margins to the center, unweaving the terrain of controlled, as if it were the soft, sweet braids of her own hair.